Hey folks, welcome back to Money Vikings, Money Viking G. I'm smiling because Bitcoin continues to surprise and titillate and entertain me in many ways. And I'm going to go through the many reasons why Bitcoin is going much higher, and most likely to $1 million a coin. And, this isn't financial advice. Nothing about Money Vikings ever is. But we do share what we've done to build wealth and what we're continuing to do to live a life of true wealth. But here's kind of your weekend update of just some of the highlights. So a lot of interesting stuff out there. So number one, the president unveiled the Bitcoin white paper hanging on the wall in the White House. It's behind these sort of curtains that unfold. And it connects to my last video where I talked about World War Bitcoin, and it just shows you where things are. And again, I can't stop smiling or laughing because the good news for Bitcoin just continues on and on and on. And so, whereas I, definitely believe in, very reasonable portfolios, I still like S&P 500 index funds and bond funds and real estate investment trusts and CDs and all that kind of stuff, depending on your risk tolerance. But for my portfolio, and I think for someone who wants to build wealth, I just don't see a problem with a 3 to 5% allocation. Now, that's a bit high. That's a bit higher than what BlackRock, I believe, says at the moment. I think they talk about a 2% allocation. And what that would translate into is a 5% risk factor for that asset for the entire portfolio. But the reality is that Bitcoin is just going to go up. It's just going to. And there are so many reasons now. Let me talk about the future. So it's hard to see the future for most of us and for many people. But if you spend a little time observing the present, you can kind of see, well, not kind of, you can see where things are trending. It is absolutely more and more an interconnected Internet of Things, AI, digital world, for better, for worse. I'm not totally a big fan of that. I think there's a lot of value in living a good part of our life in the analog world. I think we need to be outside with nature. I think we need to be getting fresh air and exercise. I think we need to be around humans in person, not just in chat rooms or online. I think we have, as our biology and our minds evolved, we need connection to nature. We need connection to real things. Some of us need to do things with our hands, right, and build things. Now, it's interesting to build things on the internet, and it's awesome. And it's interesting to play video games and have connections and social media. And I can see the great benefits of that to society. But anyone who studies technology knows that technology also comes with a dark side and a downside. And so that's going to be the ultimate sort of balancing act that humans of the present and the future are going to need to figure out together. And I don't know if that's going to be through social norms or laws or what it might be. But we know that too much technology and social media is bad for children. And we know that the current structure of social media and the internet can be bad for us as humans if there's too much of it. But again, there's also a lot of value. We have more information at our fingertips as individual humans than of all humans in all of history. Walking around with the entire world's knowledge database in your hand is mind-blowingly futuristic. I don't think people can fully fathom the extraordinary times we live in. And it doesn't mean there aren't challenges. Of course there are. But we live in an extraordinary time. And we really do need to take a step back sometimes and appreciate it. There's something about the human mind and the human brain, and it might be a survival instinct. I'm not sure. I haven't put my finger on it. But we get very used to current things that we have very quickly. We dream and think about interesting, amazing things, and then we build them. And then when we have them, we kind of like, well, we've always had this, right? This is the way it is. It becomes very normal, which makes sense because you can't just walk around every moment of your life, in aghast, in awe of something that you're using, like a phone or the internet. I mean, you can't just, I'm completely shocked at all times. So it can't work that way. But things are exponentially speeding up, and you can just sort of feel it. And if you're studying what's happening right now, you can see it. And so Bitcoin is going to become, or has become, the native currency of the internet. You can kind of see that. The code is impeccable. The white paper is very clear in terms of the goal. It really is an interesting phenomenon, and in a lot of ways a gift to the modern world. So the Bitcoin paper now hangs in the White House. You really have to wrap your brain around that, guys. Again, that's why I did the video about World War Bitcoin. The United States is going to buy more Bitcoin, and other nations are going to buy it. And remember, when other entities are buying it, the price goes up, and the price can go up in a shocking manner because there is no more supply. Another thing we have to continue to remember, Bitcoin actually continues to be lost. I don't know the rate of that. And, if you do some research, I think you'll find that the estimate is maybe about 6 million out of 21 million. There's only maybe 19 million at the moment. Let's just say out of 19 million, because the last million is going to accumulate very slowly. Let's say out of 19 million, 6 million are lost, and more are being lost each day. So we could be down to like 12 million Bitcoin in supply. And beyond that, I think some big institutions and the MicroStrategies and the countries that own some, you pretty quickly gobble up those 12 million. Whereas, I don't know, are half of them owned by institutions and whales? So then maybe there's 6 or 7 million for a planet of 8 billion people? Guys, you got to think about this. So, humans just decide things in a way, and humans are going to decide that Bitcoin is a store of value, it's a commodity, it's an investment. They're going to use it day to day, but more so, I think they're going to lock in their assets into it in order to secure the value of their assets over the long run. I think that's where it's probably headed. There's a lot that needs to happen. So what I see happening with the government introducing rules, ending the war on crypto, etc., is that you'll see a flourishing of the marketplace to create easier ways of exchanging crypto, and then other use cases, smart contracts, decentralized finance, all that other kind of stuff. Now we have the meme coin thing too. I tend to ignore that. That's a bit of a cultural phenomenon. Maybe meme coins are a little bit like, maybe it's a collectible. That seems to be what they say. I don't want to be part of that. In my collectibles, I want to be tangible things in the analog world. I want collectible cards and comics and books and art. I just enjoy having something that's kind of like that. But anyway, so much going on. So the other thing you have to remember is the Commerce Secretary Lutnick. He owns like hundreds of millions worth of Bitcoin. These are some really eye-watering numbers that the wealthy are putting into this, into Bitcoin. And I just cannot see a scenario where it doesn't go up by a lot, you know? So again, I always take a practical approach to things, but, a 5% allocation doesn't seem out of this world to me. There's just so much going on that it's almost hard to keep up, but it's just every week there's a new bit of like good news. So the other thing Lutnick said is that he has been authorized to find budget neutral ways to buy more Bitcoin. And you can look up their plan. Their plan has to do with so they're going to cut spending, which they're working on. I do wish they'd do that in a strategic way. And then after they cut spending, I think they're going to sell gold, the gold reserve, part of the gold reserve that the United States holds. And I think with that, some of that money, they're going to buy Bitcoin, or with all of it. So all of this is bullish. It just is. So it's amazing. It hovers around 84,000, 85,000 at the moment. But you have to remember where we came from. I mean, I started getting into crypto when it was 17,000, 16,000, something like that. I maybe first was aware of it at 7,000 for Bitcoin. And to think this many years later, it went from 7,000 to, so it 10x'd in a few years, 7,000 to 84. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, good stuff, guys. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.